Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk Change. I'm Lisa Blanchet, a change strategist and leadership coach, and I've had the opportunity over the last 20 years to help several leaders, organizations through change. Change is one of those things that some people will say, oh, I love change, and others will say, ugh. But if you think about it for you, how do you react when you hear about an upcoming change? The reality is that we can have a different response to change at each time we hear about it, but also to each individual change. Sometimes, there's nervousness and excitement. Other times there's fear of, well, what will this mean, and the anticipation of what's next. And the thing is that our reaction to change isn't something that you can really put ourselves in a box and say that this is how we react. Sometimes we are absolutely open to the change, right? This is something that we've wanted and we're like, oh, finally, yes, we're going to do this. And other times we're thinking, oh, I'm just going to go home and jump out of the bed and pull over the covers and, I'm going to wait it out until it's all done. And, the reason that is the way that it is because when something is about to change or we're anticipating a change, it means that as human beings, we have to change our habits, our behaviors, the way that we work. And really, the way that we choose to do our work, the way that we just run about our routine and our habits every day, nothing is more personal than that. So it also means that when somebody or something disrupts that we're going to have a reaction that is also very personal. Our reactions can be really based on so many different things. Sometimes they're based on previous change experiences. And it could be the change itself that, we went through and we're anticipating going through again. But it can also be, the organization we were a part of when we went through that change. Or it can be the person that's communicating that change to us. And it can also be the fact that just today, really, I, as an individual, I just do not have the capacity for another thing for me to figure out. And so it isn't about the change at all. It's about me thinking about, how does this fit in? How am I going to start to do this other thing when I have so much on my plate already? But also, sometimes our reaction to change is as simple as, how was our morning? How much sleep did we get last night? So when we hear about anything that might be changing or is indeed changing, and it doesn't matter if it's at work or in our personal life, something that's happening in society, there is a lot that's happening both in our heart and in our head. And the things that we're feeling are exactly that. They are feelings. It's creating something to stir and something to think about that wasn't there the minute before somebody mentioned or we read about a particular change. As a leader, it's important for you to know that everybody, including yourself, because you're not superhuman, everybody goes through their own personal reaction to a change. And that means that, almost everyone on your team is going to feel or think just a little bit different than someone else. It also means that they're starting their change journey in a slightly different place, or they're starting it with a different perspective. And your role as a leader is to make sure that you're guiding your team through that change. The most impactful way to do that is to really involve your team members. Now, if you look at, kind of textbook change management practices, you hear a lot about stakeholder engagement. And it's a core activity. Yes, it's written about a lot. But for me, when I talk to leaders, I really have pivoted away from talking about engagement and talking about involvement. And how do you involve your team? And what's happened over time is that, leaders, the feedback they've shared with me is that when they hear involvement and they think about, how am I going to involve my team, that it's something that there's easier for them to take action around. And they can see that, well, involving means that this is a participatory activity. I'm making sure that they have a role to play in this particular change. Because when an individual has a role in something, so a role in change, also means that they start to take ownership. And because change is personal, and at the end of the day, each individual has to make that choice to change, what we need from everybody on our team, in our family, whatever it is for them to start to have ownership. And you can't take ownership of something if you're not involved in the process. So when you think about, involving, whether it's your team, your family, your stakeholders, if you're on a project, whatever it might be, It's thinking about what is that active role that they can play. And in the beginning, it may just start with the fact that you would create space for conversations. Instead of, being told that this is what's happening, being sent an email, that you're creating an opportunity for conversation. You're creating space where they feel like their questions can, be brought up in a safe space. Because when you start to create a space like that, what also happens is it creates an increased road to clarity. It also allows you to uncover risks. Because really, at the end of the day, right, the employees are the ones that know their job the best. They know the intricacies of how, if you might change a piece of the puzzle or piece of the process, is actually going to impact the way they work and perhaps the downstream impacts or the customer experience. But, too often I've seen, leaders resist involving their teams in the change. And they want to wait till it's all figured out, or maybe they get to a specific milestone, something like that. And trust me, I get it. Because for me, that used to be the way that I worked. And it took time to practice and to realize that I don't have to figure it all out. I don't have to know it all. The thing is that, as a leader, you're providing that guidance, but you have a team. You brought them into the organization, or you promoted them, whatever the case may be, and they're brilliant. And why would you not want to continue to leverage their brilliance in the same way that you do in the everyday kind of operations of your business? They have the skills, they have the knowledge. They also have the curiosity if you create the space for it. The other thing is that if you're involving, again, your team members, your stakeholders, you're also going to find that the actual change journey, because it is a journey, it's a process, but you're going to find that those around you are going through that at a faster pace because you have introduced them to what's happening. You have given them a role to play, and they are participating, and you will see the ownership happen faster. But in general, you're going to see them go through that change journey quicker. So, if you're looking to help develop your personal change skills, or you're looking for support in terms of creating that strategy that's really going to create involvement and drive adoption, feel free to reach out to me. Take care.